Giant Goliath's hometown is discovered in Israel, and the ruins are giant in size. July 29, 2019. Putting the whole biblical story together is not an easy task, but archaeologists are doing it every day in Israel. And another piece of the puzzle came together this month when a team found the hometown of Philistine champion Goliath. Giant Goliath's hometown is discovered in Israel, and the ruins are giant in size. We all know the story of David and Goliath. The Israelites and the Philistines were at war, and instead of sending their armies into battle, the Philistine warrior Goliath challenged any warrior on the Israeli side to fight him in a single combat. Any warrior who won the fight would win the battle on their side. Nobody introduced themselves. But then David, who would later become an important king of the Bible, accepted the challenge. Goliath was apparently a giant man who overshadowed David, but David knocked him down with a stone from a slingshot and cut off his head. Giant Goliath's hometown is discovered in Israel, and the ruins are of giant size. 1 David kills Goliath. Image via Wikimedia. David would later visit Goliath's hometown of Gate, now known as Tel Es-Safi, and be amazed at the gate for being so impressed with the enormous fortifications and architecture of this Iron Age Philistine settlement. According to the Haaretz website, Gate is mentioned in the Bible more often than any of the top 5 Philistine cities. The other 4 are Ekron, Ashdod, Ashkelon, and Gaza. Gate is said to have hosted the Ark of the Covenant for a short time after the Philistines captured it from the Israelites. 1 Samuel 5:8, and is where David sought refuge twice from King Saul, eventually becoming a mercenary to the ruler of the city. Achish. 1 Samuel 21 and 1 Samuel 27. Archaeologists have already found Ashkelon, where they performed DNA tests and found that the Philistines were originally from Europe. Another research team led by Bar-Ilan University professor Aaron Mayer has been digging at the Gate site for years. The problem is that Gate is one of those places where people have been building settlements over older settlements for centuries, making it difficult to locate a specific time period. And so, the level they originally believed to be the hometown of Goliath was wrong, because they have now found a level that matches the right times, and the ruins are huge enough. Giants are believed to have lived here. Giant Goliath's hometown is discovered in Israel, and the ruins are giant in size. 2 Gate ruins. Image through the Gate Archaeological Project. The discovery suggests that Gate was at the height of its power long before thought, peaking at a time when the city appears strongly in biblical narrative as a fierce rival of the early Israelites, as well as the hometown of Goliath and other great warriors. Biblical. During the summer digging campaign, which ended last week, archaeologists decided to investigate the foundations of large terraces in the lower city of Gate, which was only inhabited during the Iron Age. The excavation revealed that these terraces were supported by huge fortifications and larger buildings made of huge ledges of rock and burnt bricks, a method that makes them stronger than traditional sun-dried clay bricks. Giant Goliath's hometown is discovered in Israel, and the ruins are giant in size. 3 Gate ruins. Image via Gate Archaeological Project. Mayer said, "I've been digging here for 23 years, and this place can still surprise me. All the time we had this giant older city that was hidden just a meter under the city we were digging. This was the largest Philistine city and probably one of the largest in the Iron Age Levant. Larger cities were found only outside the Levant, as in Egypt and Mesopotamia. The last settlement they dug was destroyed by the Aramean king Hazael, around 830 BC. In the Iron Age period IA. The previous settlement they just found, however, is even larger." Mayer said, "Until now we thought that the Iron City IA, which was destroyed by Hazael, was the largest and most important period in Gate. This year we had a different story. In some areas, these walls are 4 meters thick or more, and their associated pottery dates back to the early Iron Age until the 11th century BC, or possibly earlier. No comparatively colossal structure is known in the rest of the Levant of this period, or even the later incarnation of the Philistine Gate. Whatever it is, it's huge. It is as if the site of Gate in the early Iron Age was smaller than the later city. And that is why many people believe that the Philistines were giants, although no skeletal remains were found to suggest as such." Mayer said, "Many of the biblical texts must be understood as allegory. We dug several graves in Gate, and we definitely didn't find the bones of particularly large people. So what is the origin of the tradition that the giants lived here? If there were huge ruins sitting around, that would be the best way to start the giant stories." Lausanne University professor Thomas R. agrees. He said, "We always have to be very cautious in our interpretation, But this may be related to the size of Philistine cities like Gath and this impressive civilization with which the Hebrews were familiar. When you are confronted with such large structures, you need to explain them, so why not giants? Again, Gate was destroyed several times. It would be easy for later visitors to look at the huge ruins and deduce that gigantic people must have lived there, further perpetuating the stories of Goliath being a giant when he may not have been much larger than David. The people who wrote the biblical stories about Gate did so centuries after these events took place. And besides, including giants in the story only increased the excitement of the scriptures and made the Philistines look even more villains. After all these centuries, the only real giant was the city itself. Mayer also said, "We still don't know much about why a new city was built on top of the old one, with a different orientation to the buildings. But one thing is certain, we are slowly awakening a sleeping giant. Perhaps the next excavation at the site will produce the tomb containing an inscription identifying it as belonging to Goliath himself. That would be an even bigger discovery."